Chaos Island is the last of the normal islands, as these next two islands are thankfully shorter and different. As you may notice, the map of this Rhea Island is already cleared out. But it's also the same map from Kronos Island, as it's basically the top half you couldn't explore before. Rhea Island is basically the story island. There's no guardians, no cyberspace, no memory tokens. You have to climb 5 towers and watch some cutscenes. These 5 towers are the most platforming you have to do in the base game, and these are frustrating to say the least. Thankfully, the game will have checkpoints for these, but any niceness this later half of the game will have is frankly unfucking earned. It's like calling a girl a dumb, bitchy, cum dumpster slut, gold digger, and then coming back the next day and being like, "Hey, I didn't mean any of that!" Like you already fucked up, huh? Oh, right. Sonic finally meets Eggman after succumbing to cyber corruption. I've been glossing over the story if it hasn't been obvious. As I've already mentioned, Sonic, Tails, and Samantha all flew to the Starfall Islands. All of them got stuck in cyberspace, and Sonic was thankfully able to escape by doing basic platforming. So why did the other three get stuck? Especially Knuckles, who was literally shown a platform in the fucking prologue animation. Ah, fuck it. I don't fucking get it. This one. Great writing, Flynn. Great fucking writing! Anyway, over the last 3 islands, whenever Sonic freed his friends, he would gain some sort of corruption, looking worse and worse as the game went on. Even his friends worried for him. Oh no! Also, over the course of the game, Eggman has also been in cyberspace trying to get his AI companion, Sage, who's the best character in this game, let's be honest. That isn't General Knuckles, of course, to save him. Her suggestion is that she must team up with Sonic to get out safely, which Eggman obviously refuses and then gets out anyway. Also, GLaDOS is clearly leading Sonic towards his doom, and when GLaDOS gets Sonic to take down the towers on Rhea, she's revealed to be the bad guy known as the End. And she plans on destroying the world, yada yada yada. Kirby, 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 that's a name you should know. Kirby, Kirby, Kirby is the star of the show! Somehow, Sonic's friends returned, despite falling into Death Star. I mean, the following them all game. Like, why didn't Samantha and Knuckles follow Sonic to the other islands? That would have actually legitimately spiced up those boring-ass cutscenes. Like, is that hard to have 3/4/5 character models standing around just to talk? Anyway, Sonic's friends were able to save Sonic by sacrificing themselves, and so Sonic can go to the next island, where the only goal is to get the Chaos Emeralds, and then fight the final boss. Welcome to the best island in the game, because unlike every other island, there's actual good game design here. I know, right? That sounds surprising after Chaos Island. All you have to do in this island is get the 6 Chaos Emeralds, since Eggman's going to get the 7th for you, thank God. At this point, you can also access DLC story, but don't do that because we'll get there later. Also, it is also the true ending now, so oh, great. Anyway, let's talk about missions. I've already explained what missions can do, but I have barely touched what missions are. Missions are the stupidest aspect of this game, since they are incredibly easy or in some very rare cases, incredibly cryptic. But get ready because we're gonna be going through this one by one. Some require you to just step on a button, circle a torch, homing attack switches, step on tiles that are on a grid, hit platforms so they can get raised so you can platform on them, race to one end of the map within a time limit, just press R2 and a hamster wheel, destroy some weeds. There's one mission where you can see a climbable wall, but you can't climb to the other side, so you need to side loop the platform below it for some reason, and the first platform is not even used. It's just there for no reason. And one where you sidestep over and over again. There are missions you can only do at night, and you can't change the clock to skip travel, so you just have to wait there. You may have to hit blue balls in the rings, which is just as awkward as it sounds, hit the sandbag, parry one bullet, play Tetris but bad, play some jump rope but bad, jump from platform to platform, have a ball hit you on the head so you can finally end it all, and lastly, play with mirrors. All of these except for the ones that challenge your speed are boring, and thankfully the speed-based ones are the most common ones. Let's also talk about Guardians, because it's been a while since I brought those up, and I've also been glossing over those. I've already talked about Ninja / Ashura, but what I didn't mention is that those two become super mindless at the Sonic Boom. Now, what about the others? Well, Ashura can be defeated by side looping his legs, so pick your poison on which one you found more mindless. In order to fight Tower, you have to climb on top of him and slam down on him. You can do this via a number of ways. It doesn't fucking matter. There's Squid! Squid requires you to run after it on a Starlight Carnival light path and dodge whatever is coming towards you. As soon as you catch up, you get into an arena where you can damage it with Sonic Boom. Squid also has a glitch where if you don't engage with it, his boring ass theme will continue to play even though you are on the other side of the map. This can cause certain things to just not work. Did it not play test this? Then there's Shark. Shark will basically pull you along the sand where you just do basic QuickTime events. Strider requires you to side loop its rails so you can create an arena to attack it. Then there's Sumo, who requires you to side loop it, then homing attack it, and then use the arena rings. And then use the arena rings you're in to bounce him into the arena rings. Why did I write that twice? To tank will just take you into a tornado it created, where you have to attack its 4 sides before it spins. Then you go to land to attack it. Spider! Here you must throw Pikmin at its legs, have them climb up the legs, or just use yellows and throw them at its head. Make sure you don't let your Pikmin get crushed, because they will die and it's sad. Oh, sorry, wrong game. Side up the legs, hold me attack its head, then skydive down, hit its head, hit 1 ring to slam down its head. You already get the fucking point. For Fortress, you just follow it towards the edge, get on some rails, listen to good music, side up the rails that are blue, and then read the red head of the fortress. Basically, it just wastes your fucking time. Go figure. For Caterpillar, who also has our 7th good song, by the way, I recommend listening to this one, you'll get sucked onto a grind rail where you must hit all of the blue balls. On the last blue ball, you must homing attack some yellow balls. But be careful, that is just as awkward as it sounds. Oh, and it can also damage you, but it's awkward. And lastly, Ghost. We have our 8th good song in the game. Basically, to defeat Ghost, side loop its pillars. However, in the last few phases of the fight, the game will require you to platform towards the last few pillars. All the while, Ghosts will drain your rings, so you have to have them on you for this fight. This is the best Guardian/boss fight in the game, and was a genuine surprise to play through during my first time fighting him. More boss fights should have been designed like Ghost. It's a shame that he's left for the final area, however. Ninja and Tower also have 3 more variants of their fights, each of course being no different than their first fight, and Squid also has a variant on Chaos Island, but in game it's just referred to as Squid. They couldn't even do Calamari or some shit. Like, what the fuck? It was right there! A lot of these Guardian fights are gimmicky and just don't teach you anything you need for the game. The few that do are Ashura, since his gimmick is needed for Giganto, Tower because you have to fight Tower in Ares Island, Spider because his skydiving mechanic is later reused for that bridge minigame in Chaos Island. Every other Guardian, including Ghost, is stuff you don't need to learn to beat the game. If I didn't feel like trying to side loop spots on the world map, I would just fight Ninja, since Ninja and its variants die instantly to Sonic Boom, and it was the quickest thing to do to just get on with the game. You don't need to learn combat since Super Sonic has his own moveset. Oranos Island feels like it was actually made for Sonic to explore in comparison to every other island in this game, and in some ways, feels like it was also meant to be the first island. The first mission on this island is laid out very tutorial-like, even more so than the actual first island. This island also has 9 cyberspace missions, and 4 of them are original. There's also an optional island mystery, which up to this point, every single one of these were mandatory. This unlocks a gate which gets us a single cyberspace mission too. It's weird because the minigame you have to do to even reach this cyberspace area is also the best one in the entire game, since you have to listen to different pitches, which actually requires you to think for once in this game. It doesn't feel unfair at that. Ironically enough, the best island mystery in this game is a completely optional one that pretty much gets you nothing. So with cyberspace here, let's rip this band-aid off once and for all. I want to go over some numbers here. There are 30 cyberspace levels of 4 cyberspace themes, each with 2 to 3 variants. The level design for each is either original, SA2 speed, Unleashed boost, modern generations, and classic generations. You've all heard this spiel before, so let's get to the point. Let's see how each one is used. Green Hill is used for 10 of the 30 levels, Sky Sanctuary is used for 6 of the 30 levels, Chemical Plant is used for 8 of the 30 levels, and Eternal Highway is used for 6 of the 30 levels. Sky Sanctuary does not appear in Oranos, Eternal Highway does not appear in Ares or Chaos Island, and we already know there are 6 original levels in this game. Unleashed has 8 of the 30 levels, Modern Generations has 7 of the 30 levels, Classic Generations has 3 of the 30 levels, SA2 has 6 of the 30 levels. Technically, when Generations added together, it has 10, and the numbers are split the exact same. Also, only Chemical Plant and Eternal Highway actually have original levels. If the level is Green Hill or Sky Sanctuary, they will not have original levels. I don't really have a point here, I just wanted to share this fact. Also, to clarify it now, since I didn't clarify it before, I got this information from Sonic WikiZone because despite doing this, I'm not that nerdy to where I can recognize reused level design on the fly. Granted, I was able to recognize it when replaying Generations recently, but that's only because, you know, I just played this game back to back. There's only 2 minigames you need to do in Oranos Island, and they're both the same. You just have to do that Nier Automata top-down shooter game again. Both cannot be accessed until it is time to get the Chaos Emeralds they are locked behind. When you do the second one, make sure to set your game to hard if you actually want to fight the true final boss, because if you don't, you will have a better life. If you want a final boss to rip your hair out to, set the game to hard so you can suffer what is easily the second worst final boss in human fucking history! That's right, I said second. The main final boss when you aren't playing hard is called Supreme. Supreme is basic, he's done. Now, we are here to talk about this piece of fucking shit. Mom called me during this, I'm sorry, Mom. Imagine Nyx from Persona 3, but it's a top-down shooter on what is basically a time limit, and you've had only 3 free opportunities to actually train for this. I mean, it's more than the combat in this game, but you know. Oh, and also, if you die, you have to redo the entire fight all over again and listen to all of the end's dialogue over and over again. Oh, and the kicker? Oh, the ending isn't fucking different. It's the exact same, except a worse song plays instead of Vandalize. Both songs are pretty good though, and are number 9 and 10 on the songs I like list. In the regular story, this fight is just a cutscene. You should only do this fight for bragging rights, because there is no reason to actually fight this boss. And even then, if you decide to do it for bragging rights, you should go get admitted into a hospital right now. I did it earlier. You should join me. But we're not done yet, because this ending is now non-canon, and there's a new ending in town via Final Horizons, which, for the record, if you haven't kept track of my ranking for every single fucking island in this game, Kronos Island is number 4, Ares Island is number 2, Chaos Island is number 6, that piece of shit, Rhea Island is number 3, and this island is number 1, but Final Horizons, that's number 5, and given the track record of numbers 4 and 6, oh fucking boy, do I have some words to say about Final Horizons. Welcome to the main part of this fucking video. To access Final Horizons, you must enter a gold ring. A cutscene that explains the basic premise. Basically, Sonic sent his friends to look for the Chaos Emeralds instead of himself, and this somehow caused the level design to get fucking worse. The play is modern Amy, Knuckles, and Tails in a mainline game for the first time since Sonic 06, which is cool to finally see Sega do this again. Too bad they fucked it all up! Remember how I said Amy isn't Amy in this game? That applies to her moveset. You see, she barely uses her hammer. She has like 1 to 2 moves that use the hammer. Instead, Amy's all about tarot cards. Basically, in some random manual, it's explained that Amy used tarot cards to find Sonic. Ian Flynn took that small detail and made that her entire personality! Moves that once used the hammer now use tarot cards, and people are very mixed on this. People defend it by calling it a hobby, but up until this game, we got no hint of this being even her hobby. In this game, everything is about tarot cards with her. The only reason it has come back so much is because Flynn is trying to say, hey guys, I know the source material, by using manuals that can't even get Sonic's age right. That being said, well, it sucks having to play as Samantha instead of Amy. Samantha does have the best moveset in the game. In a similar vein to Princess Peach in Super Mario 3D World, Samantha can hover in the air and slowly glide down, allowing for more accurate platforming, and even better, skips that actually feel fun to pull off. For context, if it wasn't for Samantha, I would have a harder time deciding if this or Chaos Island is worse. Samantha also has a high jump to gain even more height. She even gets the ever so fun spin dash in a way to hurt enemies while boosting, which for context, Sonic can't do anymore. Good on you, Samantha. I wouldn't mind if you return as a better character. You certainly play better than Sonic in this game. Oh boy. Knuckles is the single worst character to play as in this game, probably up there for one of the worst playable characters in the series. He can glide and climb walls like the usual, but his gliding is just bad and he can only climb select walls. In the open zone game inspired by Breath of the Wild. You honestly have to play the game to understand just how bad he plays in this game. It's that fucking bad. Oh, right, he can also dig, but doing that is just awkward. Again, you have to fucking play it to figure out how bad it is. Tails is the most broken character out of the bunch. Normally he's bad being a projectile throwing character in combat and having a flying mechanic that works worse than Amy's hover. However, there is one skill that Tails gets that allows Tails to just infinitely fly wherever he wants. You see, you can create an infinity symbol that allows for you to get an infinite boost gauge. And that same symbol allows Tails to infinitely boost around the world. But yeah, you just do simple quests to get the Chaos Emeralds as these characters. And while some of them play like shit, there's sections this part potentially worse than Chronos. No, that would be Sonic's part. For starters, Final Horizons gave Sonic the Spin Dash, and this Spin Dash, man, it's easily Sonic's most fun move. It's basically the boost button, and zipping across the map with it is surprisingly fun to do, and is again another reason why this map is better than Chaos Island. It's a real damn shame that this speed wasn't part of the base game, and that it's saved for this, because the game wouldn't be nearly as bad with it. A lot of the running around that happened in Chaos Island would have been a lot better with a simple Spin Dash, and yet there are fans who want this cut from the next game. The main goal of Final Horizons is climbing the 5 big towers, so you can get a power strong enough to defeat the end. Even though in base game he was completely fine, and the ending to this game is the same ending as base game. These towers are locked behind lookout cocos, which you can find all over the map. You can also get them from cyberspace. The cyberspace is completely optional. Speaking of cyberspace, all 9 levels are reused from base game. The following levels from base game are reused: 1-4, free 1, 4-5, 4 free, 1-5, 2-4, 4-2, 4-4, 1-7. Cyberspace also has new goals in the form of finding the number rings, flickies, and the silver moon rings. When the number rings and silver moon rings are what is to be expected at this point, flickies require Sonic to pick them up and carry them to a portal out of hell. This limits Sonic's abilities and is a mechanic I think should return and be expanded upon. Cyberspace levels also have a second exit, which is cool to see. Too bad it doesn't really do much. All the cyberspace levels have a gimmick here. Let's go over them one by one. 1-4 has these new honeycombs all over the place. Sonic's boost has been turned into a rocket boost, which is fine, I guess. Spin Dash is still superior. Free 1 is a race against Tails, which, given how these stages are how Sonic escapes cyberspace, you'd expect Tails to be able to do the same since he shows here he can go for cyberspace easily. But, you know, I really just do not care about the plot at this point. Although, if you go for every collectible, you should be able to beat Tails, but the fact the game makes you lose because you need to be a completionist is bullshit. If you haven't seen how much a spin dash breaks cyberspace in 2, then this level will show you. In order to be optimal, you gotta do shit that'll seem unintentional, which is always a sign of great design. 4-5 has both the rocket boost and a race against Tails. This mission doesn't have any flickies and can be beaten in one full try. 4 free has a mine radar mechanic and has a speed-based game. Luckily, it is pretty intuitive, but still not that good of a mechanic. They work best with the flickies, but only 2 of the 4 in this level have a mine nearby. 1-5 puts a bomb above Sonic's head, and you have to beat the level without the clock running out. There are timers to increase the amount of time you have. Okay, an actual really good idea. Not even Generations had this. 2-4 is yet another race against Tails, but also has the 11th song I actually like from this game, as it's a remix of a song I already talked about. The final song I liked in this game was a Ghost remix, since Old Guardians and Oranos got remixes for Final Horizons. This one has the same issues as Free 1, get all the collectibles and lose, don't get collectibles and win. Again, it's just badly designed. 4-2 has a unique mechanic where boosting won't lower a gauge, rather it'll increase it, and the more you boost, the faster you go. This is the only stage where the flickies mechanic doesn't work and should have stayed out rather than be kept in. 4-4 is another stage with the mine mechanic, and only 2 of the free flickies are near a mine. Also, some of the blocks in the map are so weirdly placed, you'd think this is an open zone. 1-7 is our final cyberspace level of Final Horizons, and has 2 unique things about it. 1, you are going through 1-7 backwards. 2, low gravity. You can go higher, but you also descend slower. Again, not a bad idea. It sucks that none of the levels are original, but some of the concepts here are legitimately good and can be expanded into better projects. Granted, this is Sonic Team, so I highly doubt any of them could. Upon getting out... So, this game makes me sick now. Starfall Plus is a new version of the Starfall mechanics from base game, even brighter. No way to turn it off. This makes me sick. Sick. To the pile. That Sonic rope. It's a seizure-inducing, and you have no option to turn it off. What the fuck is wrong with you, Sonic Frontiers? Why do you have settings in base game to turn it off, but none here, you fucking scumbags? We'll have to wait 10 minutes before we can even move on, because yes, that's how long it takes. Moving on, let's just climb these towers. What the fuck? These towers suck. Okay, the first one isn't that bad, but my god, it'd be incredibly awkward at times. Second one is destroyable walls, you need a homing attack, but if you fall down, they won't respawn. It's like basic game design 101. How do they just keep getting worse? I don't fucking get it! Even then, you have to stand on these very, very, very thin ledges that Sonic was not made to stand on. And you have to navigate around exploding boxes on a tight corridor. Whose idea was this? And you have to navigate giant blocks super awkwardly because Sonic controls worse than a fucking Roblox obby? Not to mention that the homing attack can still fail if you aren't careful. Then you have a wall climbing tower, and it's as awkward as it sounds. Then there's a rail grinding one that requires you to use fans. Fucking fans to blow you where you need to go. And yes! That is as awkward as it sounds. There's a part where you need to jump off a loop-de-loop rail, and super awkward to time it. I end up having to do a different method just to complete the trial. Then you have more fans, and you're on rails. It's so anxiety-inducing because you never know how much progress you'll fucking lose on these. Then you have to do a side loop in the middle of mid-air, in the middle of the fucking sky, with only rails around you, and yes, that is as awkward as it sounds. The game then requires you to hit one single fan in the sky that is far away. It's such fucking bullshit because you can barely control Sonic in midair. And then the final of the towers is thankfully a lot less bullshit than the second and fourth towers. There's a part where you're running and very few time to actually dodge something. Oh my god. There's also a portion where you can kill something you need to stay alive and it won't respawn. So glad to see they learned fucking nothing! However, I glossed over one aspect of these towers. The fucking combat trials. There are 5 of these and they're all kinda shit. Trial 1's the easiest. Sonic stats are set to their base level and you have to defeat 4 regular enemies of Moranos Island. Spam Sonic Boom and it's a cakewalk. As a matter of fact, most of these set you to your base level. Trial 2 has these monsters of Froder shells in a circle. You have to use an exploit to beat all 4 of them. That's right, a fucking exploit. You see, Sonic fans actually praised 1-2 for its difficult S rank, and they wanted more of that. This is the result of that. And ironically enough, people actually hate Final Horizons because of this. I had a conversation with my friend about this. He looked at me like I was crazy for saying Chaos Island was worse than this. Well, sure, Chaos Island didn't require exploits to beat. It sure as hell didn't have stuff to actually praise like this island did near the start of it. That exploit, you want to know what that exploit is? You must homing attack it while parrying the shell so it doesn't reach his body. And yes, once again, that is as awkward as it sounds. Trial 3 is also strangely easy. It's getting you into a fight with the circling shadow clone enemies. You just parry them and attack them, nothing more to it. Trial 4 is a rematch against Ninja, which is as easy as it sounds. But the real problem lies in Trial 5. Trial 5 has you go super and defeat the 3 Titans, all within one set of 400 rings, because even if you max out your rings, that doesn't fucking matter. The game will force you to do a level 1 run. So yippee for upgrades, because what's the point of upgrading fucking your character, right? What's the point of an upgrade system if you're just gonna fucking reset us? Kanto is once again the easiest, but you gotta, and I mean, you gotta speedrun the fuck out of this fight, since time is everything. Wyvern is the one that will take your time, because you're essentially spending the entire battle waiting for it to get closer to you, so you can actually parry it. Then, you have to beat Knight within the time you have left, which won't be a lot, which means you also have to play Knight perfectly. You will essentially have to use specific moves at specific times if you have any hope of defeating the boss, and yes, that is just as frustrating as it sounds. Many players can't even beat this because these fights weren't designed to be put together like this, and it's very clear no playtesting was fucking done here! They literally put free bosses together, put them under a strict time limit, and expected gamers to just be okay with it! Oh, and a new mechanic that was also introduced for this fight, the perfect parry, because to make the fight even harder, you can't just hold a parry down anymore. No. You have to get it perfect now, which need I tell you how bad of a game design choice that is? Whole game, we have learned that the parry is broken. Now you decided on the second to last battle of the game to make it strict! Are you fucking high? Well, how the hell do you even have a job? Oh, and here's the kicker. Remember how I called the end in the base game the second worst final boss I've ever faced? That's because first place is also in this game. Are you ready for a rematch that'll make you want to kill yourself? Welcome to the end/Supreme in Final Horizons. First phase is the same as from base game. Let's move on to the new shit, because the new shit is new shit. Anyway, first phase. Waste your ring count and attack for nothing to happen, because behold, Supersonic 2, whose only difference is longer quills and blue eyes. Hypersonic was cooler and way better in this hack of a lazy ass form. Oh, and you are now forced the perfect parry. So yeah, good upgrade game. Fuck you. Anyway, you attack it again, kill it, wait there for a fucking cutscene again, and now it's healed up again. But now we get into the real bullshit. You see, what you need to do with this boss is you need to target the chain connecting him to the end. But if you locked on and use the right stick, nothing fucking happens! Not if you press any buttons that make sense, not because you need to learn a new mechanic not once ever needed in the game! Not taught in any Guardian fight, and never even hinted. And that's switching targets. What are you supposed to do when attacking? You are supposed to sidestep at the same time, but it doesn't even work all the time. So you waste more and more time. 2 more and more quick time events and watch Sonic be as lifeless as fucking possible! This is the worst final boss I have ever fought in my life. I legitimately want to fucking kill myself because of this boss. And you know what's even worse? This boss could have been cooler! In the end cutscene for when Sonic goes to defeat the boss once and for all, he awakens to another new form! A cyber corruption form where he's all blue, and it's way cooler than fucking Super Sonic 2, but sadly, it's only used in a cutscene! You might have noticed that I've used music from almost every Sonic game out there for this one video, but one thing I didn't do is use songs from games that came out after this one. Because after this fucking fight, I am done with this blue piece of shit rat. I do not care that murder is free. He was already dead to me. With this fight done, this game is over, and I never have to play it ever fucking again. This is the worst Sonic game, period. Sonic the Hedgehog is one of gaming's biggest icons, and even if this game failed, I highly doubt they would have scrapped the blue guy. The team likes to say that Frontiers is their last shot, but I really do highly doubt that because of the success of the movies alone. The ending of this game shows Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles going back home while also talking about moving on and doing their own thing, and I really hope that means the next game will have new designs for the entire cast. These characters are clearly older now and they need to actually show that they grew up. I think a reboot would be for the best at this point. The series has gone back to multiple games in a year, every year, and that exact situation is what led to games like Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, or better yet, as a more personal example, Sonic 06, being rushed out. Even though Frontiers was a success, Final Horizon showed that this team was still incompetent, and even listens to praise that makes a worse game in 2023. In 2024, however, going off footage from VGC's channels uploaded on June 8th, 2024, Shadow Generations legitimately looks better. And that will be my final dance with Sonic if it's bad, but I don't think it will be. It looks good, and I'm hoping the final game will be that good. Kishimoto, at his time with Sonic Team, has had what I would call only one success with Colors, but it's clear as day that success was due to Sonic Team actually having a great team of developers back then. I do feel that Kishimoto is genuinely doing more harm to this franchise than good with the amount of cut corners and laziness that has followed him. I think the fact that he reused level design for almost all of cyberspace should be proof enough that he really shouldn't be heading Sonic Team, nor should he really be there. I think it's extremely telling that Shadow Generations doesn't even seem to be developed by Kishimoto, and yet it looks way more fun than anything seen from Frontiers. Again, Sega hid footage of Forces and Frontiers before launch. They didn't with Shadow. This ending also has me just very worried. You see, IDW and Boom characters were made canon in this game, and I just don't know how to feel about that. Especially making Sonic lore more of a serious discussion as the goal, I really do not see how to I don't know how to feel about that. Sonic Prime Season 3 was also made canon, which I don't even need to get into how much of a mess that was. I'm probably not going to see movie 3 unless it kills Maria or Shadow Generations is good, because I just don't see the point in giving my money to a team that won't make a good game. One Way Dream is the song that plays during the finale if you beat the game on hard. The song is sung by Nate Wants a Battle, now Give Hearts Records. The lyrics are a message from Kishimoto to Sonic fans. The song is about pushing ahead of all the obstacles life may throw at you, and is supposed to represent Sonic Team pushing against all the hatred they've received over the years. Ironic, I know. There's a lyric here that says, "You and me were built on trust," which I personally find hilarious because I have little trust in the Sonic brand to actually be good again, and I'm just kind of wondering what would have happened if this game actually had a more negative reception. Like, the song comes off as if Kishimoto knew people would overall like this game, which he was right about, sadly. There's also a line about reaching for the top, which I'm just gonna come out and say it, you're at rock fucking bottom. This song to me comes off as very egotistical of Kishimoto, and the fact you have to go through hell to even hear the song makes it even worse to me. I said at the beginning that this is the worst Sonic game, and I do do firmly believe that. While yes, a game like Eraser is probably worse, I don't care about a game that aged poorly nearly as much to a game that came out in 2022 on modern consoles. When compared to games like Blast, 06, Freeriders, Boomrise Lyric, or even Forces, I have legitimate reasons as to why I believe those are better. Blast was an ambitious concept for the time, and while bad, it was a product of pushing a system to its absolute limit. 06 has a ton of glitches, but when you look beyond those glitches, the game actually isn't that bad. Hell, fucking fan projects that get rid of the glitches like Project 06 can show the game can be fixed and made into a good game. Now, I'm not saying mods make the game good, I'm just saying that its main problems are glitches, not the core game design. Freeriders can be fixed by giving it normal controls, something that you can do now. Again, not to say it excuses it, but again, it's not a problem with its core game design. Boom was rushed, but there was a clear soul behind it, as seen with the simple fact that the game had brand new designs. And Forces, for how shit that game is, at least it had original level design for every single one of its levels. Sonic Frontiers is a video game bothers me, because it pains me to see a game so soulless to actually outsell great video games with soul. Video games are an art form, but to see games like this, which are basically the equivalent of fast food, get so many sales really does pain me. Sonic used to be a childhood franchise of mine. I would love nothing more than for it to be successful, but now it's honestly one of my most hated franchises. I was going to move on and never turn back, but since Shadow seems to be confronting his pasts again, I may as well join him. Shadow seems to be ripping off Venom, so let's make this the last dance. Old friend,